Hello there. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is TVC Breakfast, the Tuesday edition. I'm Kemi Foladeyemo with Olamide Adeyemi.
Good morning, Kemi.
And how are you?
I'm fine
I'm
this
loving
morning.
your red.
Thank you very much.
What's the word you used now? Fit and proper.
Aha.
The lawyer in you, right? Coming out. Right, but you look fabulous
Thank
this
you
morning.
very much. It's a good week.
It's a good week so far. Yes, and in spite of, challenges, it's still, we have every reason to thank God indeed. And we're looking forward to better days ahead. All right, in the news at this time, we have reports now of a drop in the country's inflation rate, which has declined to 32.15% in the month of August this year. And this latest statistics was released by the National Bureau of Statistics and says that this is the second consecutive monthly slowdown after easing in the previous month. Well, the report, that's the Consumer Price Index report, also reveals that on a yearly basis, the headline inflation rate in August of this year was 6.35%, higher than the rates recorded in August of 2023, which stood at 25.80%. Also, the report says that on a monthly basis, the headline inflation rate in August this year was 2.22%, which was 0.06% lower than the rate recorded in July of this year, and that rate for July stood at 2.28%. Well, this slowdown will hopefully provide some ease to Nigerians who have endured high living costs. And that's how we start off this morning. It looks encouraging, but analysts say the statistics are still fragile, looking at the odds against the federal government as it continues to grapple with, a lot of challenges in the country, talking about the lasting effect of external shocks, high energy costs, currency depreciation, which we've also seen reflecting in the high costs of food and energy. All this continue to weigh heavily on households and businesses. So it's somewhat encouraging when you look at the statistics for July and August that just ended. But when you compare it on a larger scale, for more context, with August of last year, 6.35%. Yeah, right? That is a considerable margin.
I mean, that's to tell you that a year could actually make a difference. The trend is quite positive, but the level is still high. We've had a decline in the past 2 months. But then within those 2 months, we did not have an increase in the price of fuel consecutively. And so that, according to analysts, is expected to, reflect on the inflation in September. And that's why so many persons are saying that beyond just, finding ways to mitigate the effect that the economy may have on the average Nigerian, perhaps we should be looking at more actionable policies that will focus on a larger percentage of the population beyond providing food, so to speak, and, palliatives. Perhaps a more holistic approach. That's where the CNG initiative comes in, which is subsidizing the cost of transportation for the average Nigerian, public health care. And so when these measures are put in place that will affect generally the lives of Nigerians, perhaps we will be looking at a much, lesser inflation rate. And so I think it's too early to be excited about this inflation. And so as much as we say, fine, this is, a positive increase, looking at what we'll have in September when we consider what the country has gone through with the fuel scarcity and the price of fuel that was increased twice, right, we should be expecting a much higher inflation in September?
Much higher. That's rather pessimistic of you. Well, but I wouldn't blame you, but then I think I will lean a bit more slant. I will lean a bit more to, you know, how you started off your opening remarks. Where you talked about, yes, it's positive, but yes, it's slight. And experts, you don't even need to be an expert to be cautious in your optimism at this point. But you know, somewhat maybe a little hope, you know, could also, you know, go a long way. But then when you have also look at the statistics as it's going on, we are even seeing further, you know, details in that CPI report, year-on-year rise. The states with the highest indexes, Sokoto, Gombe, and Yobe states going as far as much as 46.98%. That's the highest rise. And for the slowest rise, we are seeing Benue with 32.33%. For the states with the highest rise in food inflation, there's also an interpretation that this could mean a reflection of the security situation, because all the states in question with the highest rise in food inflation happen to be in the north. Among them is Yobe, which of course is one of the states that have been prone to the insurgency. So yes, we hope that more and more efforts are being done. Dangote oil, with all that happened over the weekend. But then from what we are seeing, maybe when we bring the analyst during the course, he can give us some more explanations or insights into what we are seeing. Because of this. Absolutely, because what we are seeing is somewhat worrying. How much Nigerians will have to pay. Talking about fuel per liter, how much will we have to pay? And now we are being told to prepare for as much as 1,000 or thereabouts, you know, somewhere along that lines, as long as NNPC still has the imported fuel, which it bought from Dangote recently. And,
you know, one of the states that you didn't mention, probably we should be looking at the ripple effect of the flooding in Borno and how it will affect food security.
Which is also an agrarian state.
So these are factors that we should consider. The security situation, food insecurity that we are currently facing, and the high cost of fuel. And that's why, to an extent this morning, I'm quite pessimistic about what the inflation rate will be in September. And perhaps we should also be looking at making Nigeria a state which manufactures more. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, it also indicated that a lot of our imports are manufactured goods and not even honor the energy that we talk about, the oil and all that. Right. So if we can decide to produce Nigeria, wear Nigeria, use Nigeria, these are the things we should be advocating for.
Absolutely. Talking about produce Nigeria, use Nigeria, of course, you know, the challenge remains for the governments at all levels to also do more. It's good to see states and even at the federal level, you know, prioritizing made in Nigeria goods. But I think it would also be more fabulous if we see more and more of those actions. You know, as you've said, Nigeria is a consuming nation rather than a producing nation. And perhaps that is why we are where we are now. If we had imbibed all these steps way earlier, governments should show the good example way earlier, and the people should also join in that campaign, would probably, or, you know, be in a better place, much better place than we are now. But the steps are still, you know, fragile, but it's good to know the government says we are not relenting. Of course, the shocks are, you know, a bit harsh at the moment on Nigerians. But we're really hoping for better days, you know, more direction from the government, and looking forward to brighter days indeed.